great friends of mine. I think I can say this group is every one of them, I rate a 10. I can't always say that, even if they're Republicans, and these are Republicans, great Republicans. I want to thank you all for being here for this important announcement, 7 years in the making. As you know, this has been going on for a long period of time, and I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City. Okay, so Huntsville, Alabama, we love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, though, right? That didn't, right? But we had a lot of competition for this, and Alabama's getting it, Huntsville in particular. So congratulations, everybody. Katie, congratulations. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs, and probably much more than that, and hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, and that's billions, because it can't be millions, it's billions and billions of dollars. Most importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate the high frontier, as they call it. I want to thank Secretary Pete Hegseth. He's doing a fantastic job. And Secretary of the Air Force, Troy Mink. Troy, thank you very much. Great job you're doing, Troy. This is such a big deal. This is one that everybody wanted to know. What are you doing? I also want to thank Senators Katie Britt, and I want to give my condolences. Your grandmother, her grandmother just passed away. She was 100, right?
100, and she loves you, Mr. President.
Well, and she was very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Very, very proud of you. So thank you, Katie.
Wonderful woman.
She must have been. To produce you indirectly, I can tell you she had to be. Tommy Tuberville, who's a great coach. And I won't say anything about what happened with Alabama football this weekend.
Let's leave that out.
But you're not used to that, right? You're not used to that. But Tommy, Auburn won, that's right. They did. So you're happy. Tommy's been a great senator, as you know, and a fantastic guy all around. He was also a tremendous coach. House Armed Services Committee Chair Mike Rogers. Thank you, Mike. Where's Mike? Mike, thank you very much. Doing great, Mike. Representatives Barry Moore, all great friends, Robert Adderholt, Gary Palmer, and Dale Strong. Thank you all very much, fellas. Appreciate it. In my first term, I created a thing called Space Force, so important. You know, we were losing the race in space very badly to China and to Russia, and now we're far and away #1 in space, and reestablished Space Com with a mission to protect American space assets and detect any threat to our homeland. We initially selected Huntsville for the Spacecom headquarters, yet those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration. And as you know, they moved them to a different locale. And today we're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this. And this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years. That's where it's going to be. I will say I want to Colorado, the problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections, because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also. In Huntsville, Spacecom will play a key role in building the Golden Dome, as you know. That's going to be a big thing. Everybody wants to be a participant in it. Missile Defense Shield, we're going to be having a Golden Dome that the likes of which nobody's ever seen before, the finest, the best. And by the way, Canada called. They want to be a part of it, and that'll be great. But Canada wants very much to be included in that, and we're going to work something out with them, I hope. It will also ensure that our technological capabilities, of which we're way ahead of anybody else, there's nobody close, remain unmatched long into the future. So I'd like to ask Hegseth to say a few words. He was very much a part of it. And really, everybody behind me was. Every one of these people would call me and lobby me. I said, Katie, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I know what you want. She said, that's right, sir. That's what I want. And they got their way. So I just want to congratulate. These are really special people. They're politicians in many ways, but they're great patriots, I think even more so than politicians. So they fought very hard to get it, and it's an honor to give it to Huntsville. Pete, say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As usual, right place, right time, for the right reason. In your first administration, you established the Space Force at a time when we knew we had to be looking to that domain of space. You also reestablished SpaceCom to ensure that priority was put in place, and you, through the Air Force, independently identified that Huntsville, Alabama was the right place to put it. For other reasons, in the next administration under Biden, they decided to move it somewhere else. Well, during that time, the DoD Inspector General, the Government Affairs Office, they did their own assessments, and where did they say SpaceCom should go? Huntsville, Alabama. So what you're doing today, Mr. President, is restoring it to precisely where it should be based on what the Space Force, the Air Force, your leadership believes will give us strategic advantage in the future. That is Huntsville, Alabama. We are way ahead in space, but this will ensure we stay leaps and bounds ahead because that's the most important domain. Whoever controls the skies will control the future of warfare. And Mr. President, today you're ensuring that happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Katie, would you like to say something?
Mr. President, we are grateful for your leadership on this and restoring Space Command to its rightful home in Huntsville, Alabama. This delegation has worked together, both chambers, both parties, to make sure that Huntsville was the place that Space Command called home. As was mentioned, obviously the Biden administration chose to make this political. What we want to do is put the safety and security of Americans first. We want to make sure that our warfighter is put first, and we want to make sure that America continues to lead. And today, Mr. President, you've allowed that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tommy, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great day for our country, not just for our state of Alabama. We need help in our military. We need to catch up. And as Secretary has said, we're not behind in space, but we know where we're at, and we need to expound on that. Now, this move will save the taxpayers $480 million. It's not going to cost more. It's going to cut $480 million. We have the plans intact. It'll be behind a secure wall in Huntsville, Alabama at Redstone Arsenal. We have 40,000 people there. We have the FBI there. We have missile defense there. We have NASA, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. It is the perfect place for Space Command. I would tell you today, and I've spoke with the President for the last 3 or 4 years about this. If I thought it needed to go somewhere else because I understand the security of our country, I'd be for that.
Move in the first administration for the President to set up Space Force, and I think an equally visionary move to make sure that Space Force is right where it should be in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, anybody want to say anything? Would you like to say?
Mr. President, another promise made, another promise kept. You think about it, Redstone Arsenal is critical to national security. The president said when you were the 45th president, let's do what's right for national security. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. It's not because of this or that. It's because it's right for national security. You think of the 21 categories that were evaluated to determine what was best for national security. All indicators pointed back to Huntsville, Alabama, and Redstone Arsenal. We have the right people at the right place at the right time. Mr. President, on behalf of the people of the 5th Congressional District and all of Alabama, thank you for keeping your word.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Anybody?
Let me just say, Mr. President, I want to say thank you. And thank you for doing this because it was the right thing to do. When they looked at all the numbers, Huntsville was the place to go, and like you say, it was unfortunately pulled out, but you made it right. So I want to just say thank you again for a grateful nation, and to the state of Alabama, we're very grateful. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Throughout history, militaries has always understood that whoever could hold the high ground held the advantage. Space is the ultimate high ground. And what we're doing with moving the Space Command to Huntsville is absolutely critical to our maintaining dominance in that sphere. And it goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with the Golden Dome and missile defense, to defend against anyone else who tries to enter that sphere. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. And obviously, national defense is a huge issue. And when you look at the scores, Alabama was #1, and for political reasons, it was moved out of our state. But Mr. President, thank you for making priorities the defense and the warfighter and the safety of this nation. And in the big, beautiful bill, that Golden Dome will be built in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Listen, as chairman of the Armed Services Committee, I care very much about what's most important for our national security. And the president held a nationwide competition to determine where we should have this command. If y'all remember, at the end of that competition, where Alabama came in first, there was a lot of complaints from the other states who did not place well. He said, we'll do it over with new criteria to accommodate your concerns. Alabama came in first in that second competition. His Secretary of the Air Force reviewed the results, said it was fair, and the president named Huntsville. It was the Biden administration that decided to make it political, even though his own Secretary of the Air Force said it was a fair competition and it should be in Huntsville. So I want you to know I appreciate this president standing up and being strong and saying he's going to make this right and put it where it rightfully belongs, and that's Huntsville, Alabama.
Thank you very much. Good job. Appreciate it. So thank you all very much. You are going to leave me alone now. You're not going to call me anymore and talk about this subject, right? You promise? They'll start something else. But I just want to congratulate you. It's a very big deal. When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago. And our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so incredible, including what took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it if we didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela. So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over. Do you have any questions, please? Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Tuberville, you talked about the cost savings associated with this announcement. Can you talk about the strategic benefits by having Space Force Command headquartered in Huntsville?
Well, it just works because we have so much else there and having a central command, but it really is a command station. Also, even locationally, where it is, and when you think about flying distances, if you can save a half an hour as fast as some of these planes go and things go, and even the rockets go, if you can save by having the best location. So we went out, as you know, to experts, and we had 4 different groups of experts. They all said this was the best location. I also loved it from the standpoint, I know the people of Alabama, they are great people, work hard, and there's no games, and they're very proud of it. And I would say they fought harder for it than anybody else also. A lot of states, 5 states really wanted it, but they wanted it more. And I kid you not when I say that these people, they spoke to me a lot. That's all they wanted to talk about. They didn't want to talk about the weather. They only wanted to talk about moving to this location, moving to Alabama, Huntsville in particular. So we're honored to do it. They really wanted it badly, and they got it. Peter?
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff.
I'm glad it's
Well, it's fake news. You know, it's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, you know, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know. I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
Something else. We know that this country has a huge problem with school shootings. You've said that you were open to sending the National Guard pretty much anywhere. Would you ever consider sending an armed National Guardsman to every school?
Well, we have a big problem with school shooting, but we also have thousands and thousands of schools that run perfectly. You know, they talk about you can do things construction-wise, and that's really, I think nobody knows more about construction than me. You can build the construction doors. You can build what they call safety doors, where they lock on the outside, the inside, and every place else. Well, but if one of these lunatics happens to get through, then the police can't get in. Then they're looking for keys all over the place, and it takes a lot of disadvantages to doing, spending billions and billions of dollars and actually making it safer in some way for some of these lunatics that we're dealing with. But I don't think so. I've thrown out the concept. We have great teachers that love our children. The parents love the children. Teachers love the children too. And if you took a small percentage of those teachers that were in the military, that were distinguished in the military, that were in the National Guard, et cetera, and you let them carry. That's something that a lot of people like. I sort of liked it. I'd have to be studied, but they're trained. They know about weapons. You can't do it with every teacher because most teachers don't know, and But I always thought that would be an alternative. But it just we've had a lot of instances. Other countries have also. They have different kinds of problems than we have, but we do have. There's something going on. And it's a bad thing. Yes, please.
Have you spoken with President Putin in the past week? Have you spoken with President Putin?
Yeah, I don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Will there be any consequences if there isn't some type of announcement of a meeting with President Putin and President Zelensky?
Yeah, there will be. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what they do and what happens. I'm watching it very closely. Last week, they lost 7,000, between the two countries, 7,313 soldiers, to be somewhat exact, for no reason whatsoever. And they're Russian and they're Ukrainian, but, they're soldiers. I want to see it end. Yeah.
Mr. President, have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
I didn't say when, but the answer is, look, Chicago's very interesting because I watched Pritzker get up and say about, we don't need help, we're safe. But 2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered, and they had 24 people hit by bullets. Last week, as you know, it was 7 people, 24 people hit, and 7 people died. And then over the last 2 days, that was the crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 or 10 killed, and 50 hit with bullets. And you have this governor get up, who's a terrible governor. Probably he and Gavin Newsom would be probably the 2 worst and most naive. They're naive. Either they're naive or they're very untruthful. And he'll say, we don't want any protection. We don't need. So in the last 3 weeks, he's lost almost 20 people killed. There's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of. They don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now. Parts of Los Angeles are terrible. If we didn't put out the fires, and I mean the other fires, the bullet fires, they didn't do a good job with. They should have had the water coming down, like I said. We had to release the water. We had to go in and release the water to L.A. It's so badly run. But if I didn't send the National Guard into Los Angeles, I would be making an announcement today. I'd be talking about Huntsville, and I'd simultaneously be saying, by the way, the Olympics is not coming to Los Angeles. If we didn't do that, And even the sheriff, the top law enforcement person in Los Angeles said, we could not have handled it without them. So that's what he said.
Make your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in D.C. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open. They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad, really, really bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week, you know, it was like years, many years where every single week somebody was killed for many, many, many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then we had, last week it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I say, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem. And we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the mayor has been very helpful, and the police commission has been very helpful, and it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for him and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw today on one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about 12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, they were black. And they were saying, please, please, please let the president send in. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore. I saw where Governor Moore was asking me to take a walk down the street of Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is a very unsafe place. It's rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world. But, you know, we took care. This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. You know, we had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit.
That is President Trump still speaking at the White House after announcing Space Force is moving to Alabama. But the breaking news, after he did not appear in front of cameras for a solid week, is that the president announcing he is planning to send National Guard forces to Chicago. This is, I believe, the first confirmation that says he's going to do it. Now, whether or not that happens anytime soon, we don't know. The president said that he would not say, rather, when those troops would be heading to Chicago, which the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago have said, we do not want you here. We do not want these troops here. These are local problems that need local solutions. The president also said that if not for the military presence in Los Angeles of National Guard as well as active duty soldiers, he would have been forced to cancel the Olympics in LA coming up next year because of the violence. Now, we need to stress the violence was not citywide. It was over a very small amount of area when riots would break out towards the end of protests and demonstrations. Much of that put down by police officers on the scene. There was damage done. There was vandalism done to federal buildings as well. And that's largely what the National Guard did, was just simply stand guard of federal buildings. As again, National Guard forces and military forces have no authority to arrest anybody. They're basically there for protection. So the assumption that the Olympics would have been delayed or canceled nearly a year from now because of all this is disingenuous, to say the least. But again, the two major things coming out of this is we've seen President Trump in public for the first time in a week. There had been rampant speculation about his health, particularly with the occasional photo of him traveling in and out of the White House or his golf courses in the last few days. People saying that he looked disheveled and possibly weak in the photos. The president obviously denying all of that today, laughing off the claims that he was dying, but not really making any other comment about his overall health and what may or may not be happening. But the confirmation from the president that he is planning on sending forces to Chicago at some point could lead to an escalation of this effort. Now, the president did this in Washington, D.C., but this is a little bit different. Washington, D.C. has, the Congress and the president do have some legal authority over Washington, D.C., the city. And so there was some legally shaky ground that permitted him to send those troops in, but there was enough argument there that it didn't seem like there was going to be a legal fight over it. But sending troops into a city and a state that doesn't want it is something new. That's something that hasn't happened since the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. And that was to enforce federal law, federal civil rights law, not local and state statutes that govern violent crimes such as murders and homicides. So this is something new. We don't know what it will lead to, when it will actually happen, and how Illinois and the city of Chicago and its residents will respond. But of course, that is something we'll be monitoring in the days ahead. The president is continuing to speak, obviously getting a lot of praise from people for his decision to move the Space Force to Alabama from Colorado, where it's been since he created it during his first term. The president says the plans was always to move it to Alabama. Biden canceled those plans, citing some concerns within the Pentagon over national security issues during such a large transition. But that was not a unanimous decision by members of the military. Obviously, a lot of pressure to put it in Alabama for various reasons. The president restarting that process, also claiming it will be cheaper to do it in Alabama. But again, the major news he's making at this hour is that he says he will send troops to Chicago, but did not say when that would begin. And we don't know what legal challenges that could face. Now that he's announced that, I don't know if that means that a legal challenge could come sooner before a deployment, but obviously that is all going to be shaken out in the days ahead. Again, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. The best thing you can do is like and subscribe to our channel as we build our subscriber base and hope to do more coverage of both weather and news events here. So please do that, and thanks for your support. And we will continue to bring new information on various issues when they come in.